The fireworks had just ended when a 19-ton truck careened into the crowd.
There was a huge crash and so much screaming, then a scene right out of the apocalypse with so many injured people.
On July 14th, 2016, 30,000 spectators gathered along the Promenade des Anglais, including 3,000 children.
I felt completely alone, and the only thing I wanted was for my parents to come.
Plowing across 2 kilometers, the terrorist injured hundreds of people. He killed 86.
No one can take away my suffering, and losing my daughter weighs on me more and more.
10 years after the attack claimed by the Islamic State group, Nice still mourns those it lost.
In memory of the 86 angels we lost in the terrorist attack of July 14th, 2016.
At the spot where the truck's deadly rampage came to an end, a bird-like figure balances atop a giant metal wave.
The wave forms, it comes, it crashes, and then you start again. That's life, with the good and the bad.
The Memorial of Angels Association connects families affected by the attack. Today, its president, Murris, is bringing school children to the memorial sites that honor victims.
Bonjour.
These children were born in 2016, the year of the tragedy.
These photos are all of the victims who died. They had 19 different nationalities.
Are the 2 blue photos from the same family?
We tried to put family members together. The one at the top, the mother and her little boy, they were both killed.
The children search for answers. Many had already heard of the terrorist attack before learning about it at school. This visit is part of civics classes for 10 and 11-year-olds.
I already knew there had been an attack. I didn't know the exact date, but I knew a truck had driven into people. At school, because we're children, they explain things to us carefully. On the news, they say things more direct, and it's a little scarier.
Through her work with the association, Murris hopes to find purpose in her suffering, in the unending pain of losing her daughter Camille, killed beneath the truck's wheels at age 27.
Little princess. She was a charming young woman with a bit of a mischievous side. Camille was a brilliant student. She completed her entrance exams and graduated from a top business school.
Camille had quit her well-paid job in marketing to embark on a long humanitarian mission. Now back in France, she made a last-minute decision to go to the Bastille Day celebration with a friend. She arrived in Nice barely an hour before the fireworks began.
We learned about the attack through an alert on our phones. Then total panic set in because we knew Camille was there. We kept calling her over and over. I called countless times. But every time I got her voicemail, I began to panic. I even started having muscle spasms.
What followed was 4 agonizing days of searching for her daughter. Camille was one of the last victims to be identified.
They took us downstairs into a very cold room. There was a brown envelope on the table, and I couldn't take my eyes off it. It made me nervous. A police officer started taking items out of the envelope. An ID card, a bus pass, 2 sets of keys, and a ring that Camille wore. I froze in horror when I saw the ring because it was covered in blood, and I knew it was her blood. I thought to myself, how violent this is. Then she asked us if we wanted to see her body. Before we even had time to answer, she said, "We only have her hands to show you." That's when I collapsed.
Traumatized by the experience, Anne decided to campaign for better support for victims' families.
It's torture when you're in that state. To have to take public transport to give a statement, organize a funeral. Couldn't we just do what they do in Israel? Have these services come to the families instead?
Anne testified at the trial of the attacker's accomplices. 2 men were sentenced to 18 years in prison for terrorist conspiracy. Among the 2,200 plaintiffs in the case, she met Gilles Gamberi, a remarkably humble hero.
It was a surprise, a huge surprise during the first trial. I had absolutely no idea what he'd done. The fact that he'd never sought out recognition or media attention makes what he did even more beautiful, and him an even more extraordinary person. So thank you, Gilles, for everything you did.
Gilles was at the Bastille Day concert when he heard screaming behind him. Turning, he saw the carnage on the road. He noticed the truck slow down, then stop.
I went towards the truck because I thought it was a traffic accident. I climbed onto the truck's side step, and when I reached the window, thankfully I wasn't directly in front of it because I saw a gun come out. I hit the driver's forearm again and again against the open window frame. When I realized I couldn't disarm the driver, I jumped off. Then I heard 2 gunshots. I thought he was shooting me. So I took cover behind the truck.
He provided police with crucial information about the driver's position inside the truck. The terrorist was shot dead. Gilles stayed at the scene for another hour.
A lot of us were helping the victims, doing our best to save as many as possible. But I'd say there were between 30 or 60 people lying on the ground along a 100-meter stretch of road. Then more people came and asked how they could help. That's when I told them to go into the restaurants and hotels and collect as much linen as possible to make bandages, tourniquets, pressure pads, or just to cover bodies.
After the attack, he spent 3 years in therapy, haunted by the deaths of 86 people, 15 children among them.
I come here often because this monument means a lot to me, and I need to pay tribute to those who died, because they deserve it. They didn't choose. They didn't choose to die.
Swad Darwish was 15 years old on the night everything changed.
Our plan that evening was just to go to the Promenade and listen to some music because my uncle and aunt loved that. My grandma wanted to see the fireworks, and so did my little sister. So the plan was just to have a nice evening.
Dina is the eldest of the 3 Darwish sisters. At the time, she was 17 and with their mother far from the French Riviera. The 2 younger sisters stayed in Nice with their grandmother.
My grandma was a strong, independent woman. We played together all the time. She hated to lose.
My aunt was my mum's sister. My uncle was her partner. They weren't married, but they were just as committed, still as deeply in love as the very first day.
Swad lost sight of them when the truck appeared. She followed the surging crowd and took shelter in a hotel, alone, at just 15 years old.
I was extremely worried. The only thing I could think was, where are they? Of course, I was thinking about my grandmother, my uncle, my aunt. Most of all, I kept thinking about my sister.
All three of the adults with her were killed. Her younger sister, Emma, then 12 years old, was critically injured.
Emma was shielded by the bodies of our family members. She went underneath the truck, and the doctors called her a miracle survivor. She suffered injuries to her face, arms, and legs. Today, Emma has distanced herself from everything. She has traumatic amnesia, and even when she has flashbacks or dreams about certain things, she wakes up saying, "I don't want to remember."
Dina raced back to Nice after the tragedy, alongside the girl's mother, who was completely devastated.
She lost her mother, her sister, and her brother-in-law. She has never recovered from it, and I don't think she ever will. My mother became the child, and I became the adult, so the roles were reversed, and I took care of my sisters the way a mother would have. I had to put my own life to the side without really knowing how to navigate it, but I knew my sisters had to stay on the boat with me.
Today, the two young women have managed to find some balance, despite their permanent wound.
We learn to live with it. We learn to transform it, to turn it into something new. There's the version of us before and the version we are today after a trauma like this.
For some people, 10 years feels like the closing chapter, like that's it. 10 years have passed and we're supposed to move on. Of course, we move on in our own way, but we can never forget. It's part of our story.
The Darwish family is among the 3,000 officially recognized victims. Every 14th of July, 86 beams of light, one for each life stolen, pierce the night sky over Nice at the exact moment the attack began.